Masahiko Kimura came to Brazil on tour, my father immediately challenged Kimura to a fight. I must remind you that Kimura was the current heavyweight champion of the world. He was 33 years old. The old man was like 39 or 40 at the time. And so my dad challenged Kimura to a fight, knowing that he could not beat Kimura. He was 100% sure of that. The question was, what would Kimura do to me that I could not identify or be able to defend? So he was kind of putting himself as a guinea pig in a test to find out how could Kimura surprise him technically after all the improvement he's done in the last 20 years. Anyway, so he challenged Kimura, and Kimura said, no, I'm not going to fight you for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm the current heavyweight champion of the world, and you are an unknown guy from Brazil. Why should I give you a chance? Reasonable. Number two, I'm 80 pounds heavier, kiddo. Wake up. You have no chance. Number three, if you want to fight someone, you should fight Kato, the number 2 in the world, who is on tour with us and can beat you just as easily as I can. You don't need me to get my hands dirty with you. Fight Kato, he'll choke you out. So my father accepts the idea of fighting Kato as a qualifying round, which they do. 6 minutes into the fight, my dad puts Kato to sleep, and Kato snoring away over here. Hélio Gracie triumph, now it's Kimura's turn. Once you beat the number 2 in the world, you automatically qualify to fight for the title, which is what happened. So now, Kimura couldn't say no to the challenge. And Kimura now accepted to fight the challenge, which is scheduled to take place at Maracanã, the largest soccer stadium in the world. It fits 190,000 people. They took one of the goalposts out and filled up half of the stadium, people watching the event. It was the president right here shaking hands with my father. It was a big, huge deal. And this is the kimono my mother made for my dad to fight Kimura. For the first time ever, a Jiu-Jitsu championship of the world was fought outside of Japan. For the title was my father fighting Kimura in Brazil. 3 rounds of 10 minutes. It was the scheduled time for the fight. Kimura was so confident of victory that he declared in the papers prior to the fight, if my dad could resist him for 3 minutes, he should be considered the winner of the match. The fight starts, and actually, before the fight starts, my uncle Carlos, who was my dad's manager, made my dad promise that if Kimura catches you in a good technique, I want you to tap out and recognize defeat. Don't try to be brave. He gets your arm in a arm lock and then rips your shoulder off the socket. Now you're hurt for the rest of your life because you try to be, egoed out. So my father, no, if the guy catches me in a good move, I'll promise I'll tap out. That's the promise he made to his brother, Uncle Carlos. So the fight starts, and Kimura just literally plays with the old man like a raggedy dog. Just throws him all over the place, just like a kid. A cat playing with a mouse. And does everything he wants except submit. The old man just kind of slippery, just kind of keep staying away, just not getting caught no matter what. Eventually, they land on this position right here, where Kimura has the legs across my dad's chest, and he's squeezing him with the legs across the chest, and also pulling one hand on the collar. But what happens is because the legs were squeezing across his body this way, not necessarily on the neck, it wasn't a technically correct move. It was a very efficient move because the legs squeezing my father's chest like a vice prevented the old man from inhaling. He couldn't breathe. But it was not a technical move per se that would, have the technical response that my father was looking for. So while he's being squeezed and he can't inhale, he can't breathe, the pressure on his chest is tremendous because the Kimura's leg is squeezing his chest. My father is now debating. I promised my brother I was going to tap out if the guy got me in a technical move. But this is not necessarily a technical move. This is just a sheer strength move. I wonder if I should tap out or not. While he was debating if he should tap out or not, because he couldn't inhale, he lost consciousness. He just went out. The lights went dim on him. As you pass out as a result of a choke, you don't necessarily close your eyes. When you pass out from a choke, you pass out with your eyes open, which is what happened. So eventually, Kimura got tired of squeezing my father's chest with his legs. My father now is unconscious. Thank God the guy got tired and let go, because he could have killed the old man. He now let go, and now he mounted on my father. Now the old man is laying down there with his eyes open, unconscious. He said by the time that Kimura let go of his legs, the circulation came back. By the time he regained consciousness, Kimura was now sitting on top of him in a mounted position, drying the sweat, saying, "Man, you're good," complimenting him, not knowing he had passed out. It's the most bizarre thing in history, because the guy actually passed out and came back without Kimura ever knowing this. Anyway, the fight continued on, and finally, on the 3rd minute of the 2nd round, is that Kimura finally got my father an arm lock, called the Kimura arm lock, to pay homage to him. And at that point, my dad said the arm was being twisted so badly he could see his hands right here. Uncle Carlos at ringside, concerned that the old man was resisting too much, which, by the way, he wasn't feeling pain anymore, he said. He was just so ground up that he couldn't even feel anything. And then Uncle Carlos, to protect my dad's shoulder, threw in a towel for finishing the match, giving a well-deserved victory to the Japanese champ. Kimura was so impressed with my dad's techniques that the next day he came to the Gracie Academy to invite my dad to teach in Japan, claiming the techniques the old man presented during the fight were so refined they didn't have them in Japan. So losing to Kimura was actually the highlight of my dad's career, and he always recognizes that. That's him in 1950 here, and him again in the longest uninterrupted fight in history. One round of 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, great stuff. I met people that told me that they went to see the fight. I was too young for that. I was about 3 years old.